The control panel beeped 3 times. June looked up from his tools and frowned. He was alone on the outer hull of Station 12, fixing a broken antenna. Earth was just a blue dot from here, at the edge of human space. Station 12, this is June. I'm reading something strange on my scanner, he said into his helmet mic. No one answered. Just static. June tapped his screen again. The scanner showed a large ship coming closer. It wasn't human-made. It wasn't from any friendly aliens either. Station 12. Anyone there? I have an unknown ship approaching. Still no answer. Fear crept up his spine. Then he saw it. A massive ship, smooth and black like polished stone, moved out from behind a moon. It was beautiful and scary at the same time. No human ship was that big or that smooth. June knew he should run. But where? His small work pod couldn't outrun that ship. He tried the radio again. This is human engineer June Kim on Station 12. Unknown ship, please state your. A bright blue light shot out from the alien ship. It wrapped around June's pod like water. He couldn't move. His pod's engines died. The light pulled him toward the giant ship. No, 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 June whispered. He had heard stories of people taken by aliens. They never came back. The blue light pulled him into a large opening in the ship's side. His pod landed with a thud in a big, empty room. The walls glowed with a soft purple light. The door of his pod opened by itself. June didn't move. Tall figures walked toward him. They had pale blue skin that seemed to shine. Their eyes were large and completely black. They wore simple silver suits. June had never seen their kind before. Human, one said in perfect English. Exit your vessel. June stayed still. The alien reached in and pulled him out with surprising strength. 2 others held his arms. You are now property of the Nari Empire, the alien said. Empress Hannah collects useful species. You will serve. I am not property, June said. I am a human. Earth will look for me. The aliens looked at each other. One made a sound like cold laughter. Earth is far away and small. The Nari Empire spans 1,000 worlds. You are nothing. They took June through long hallways. Other aliens, not Nari, worked on the floors and walls. Some looked at June with sad eyes. They were captives too. The Nari brought him to a small room. They stripped off his spacesuit and scanned his body with strange devices. Healthy, strong for a human. Knowledge of machines, one Nari said to another. Sent him to engine level. They put a metal collar around June's neck. It felt cold against his skin. One Nari pressed a small device against it, and the collar made a beeping sound. This marks you as property, the Nari explained. Try to remove it, and it will kill you. Try to enter forbidden areas, it will kill you. Disobey, and it will cause pain. They gave him simple blue clothes and pushed him into a line with other aliens. Some had scales, others had fur. All wore the same metal collars. Where are we going? June asked a small green alien next to him. To work. Like all slaves, the alien whispered. We fixed the parts of the ship the Nari won't touch. I've been here 3 cycles. What are the Nari? Who is Empress Hannah? June asked. The green alien looked nervous. The Nari think they're perfect, born to rule. The Empress is the most perfect of all. They say she's never even spoken to a non-Nari except to give orders. Guards pushed them into a large hot room filled with huge machines. The air smelled like hot metal and strange chemicals. This can't be happening, June thought. Yesterday he was fixing antennas. Today he was a slave in an alien ship. A tall Nari with red marks on his silver suit pointed at June. You, human, fix that cooling system. He pointed to a steaming pipe. June looked at the strange technology. It was advanced, but he could understand the basic idea. He picked up a tool and got to work. He would survive. He would watch. He would learn. And someday he would escape. 3 weeks passed. June learned the ways of the Nari ship. He fixed pipes, cleaned air filters, and repaired small machines. The work was hard, but he was good at it. The guards stopped watching him so closely. The engine room was huge. At its center stood a tall blue pillar that hummed and pulsed. This was the warp core, the heart of the ship. Only the highest Nari engineers could touch it. Slaves who went too close were punished. "What's wrong with the core?" June asked Teko, the small green alien who had become his friend. Teko looked around nervously. "It's new technology. Very powerful, but unstable. The engineers argue about it all the time." June watched the core when the guards weren't looking. He noticed patterns in the blue light. Sometimes it flickered in a way that reminded him of engines he'd fixed back home. One day, alarms rang through the ship. The floor shook. Pipes burst around them, spraying hot steam. "Emergency. All workers remain at stations," a voice boomed. June grabbed a wall as the ship tilted. Through a window, he saw stars spinning. The ship was out of control. Nari engineers rushed to the core, which was now flashing red and blue. They typed on control panels, but the core only pulsed faster. "The cooling system is failing. The core will breach," one engineer shouted. June knew what that meant. If the core exploded, everyone would die. A tall female Nari entered the room. Everyone bowed. She wore a silver robe with glowing symbols. Her blue skin seemed to shine brighter than the others. On her head was a thin metal crown. "Empress Hana," whispered Teko, his voice full of fear. The Empress spoke in a clear, cold voice. "Fix it now." "We cannot, Your Majesty," said the head engineer. "The energy pattern is chaotic. We need more time." "We don't have time," she said. June saw the problem. The core's energy was flowing the wrong way. On Earth, he had fixed similar issues with smaller engines. He knew what to do. Without thinking, June ran forward. Guards shouted. His collar beeped a warning. He reached a control panel. His fingers flew over the strange symbols. He found the ones for energy flow and cooling. "Stop him," someone yelled. June pressed the final symbol. The core's light changed from red to soft blue. The humming became steady. The ship stopped shaking. Strong hands grabbed June and threw him to the floor. A guard stepped on his chest. This slave touched the sacred core. "Death is the punishment," the guard shouted. Empress Hana walked closer. Her black eyes studied June like he was an interesting bug. "How did you know what to do, human?" she asked. June could barely breathe under the guard's foot. The energy flow was reversed. "It happens in human engines too. I just reset the pattern." The Empress tilted her head. "You understood our technology." "Impossible." "Technology follows rules," June said. "Some rules are the same everywhere." Empress Hana was silent for a long moment. The room was so quiet June could hear the core's soft hum. "Take him to the holding cell," she finally said. "I will question him further." The guards lifted June and carried him away. As he left, he saw the Empress looking at the now stable core, her face thoughtful. In the small holding cell, June sat on a metal bench. He was sure they would kill him. No slave touched Nari technology and lived. Hours passed. Then the door opened. A Nari in fancy clothes entered. "Empress Hana will see you now," he said. "She is curious about your knowledge." June stood up. His hands shook. "Is she going to kill me?" he asked. The Nari gave a cold smile. "That depends on how useful you are, human." Guards took June through grand hallways he had never seen before. Everything was beautiful and strange. They stopped at a large door with glowing symbols. "Remember," a guard whispered, "never look directly at the Empress. Never speak unless spoken to." The doors opened to a room filled with stars. No, it was a room where the walls showed the space outside. In the center stood Empress Hana, looking out at the universe. She turned to face June. "So, she said. You are the human who saved my ship. June stood still as Empress Hannah walked around him. Her blue skin glowed in the starlight. He remembered the guard's warning. Never look directly at her, but when she stopped in front of him, he couldn't help it. He raised his eyes. The Empress didn't look angry. She looked curious. Tell me how you fixed my core, she said. June took a deep breath. Your warp core works like our human engines, but bigger. The energy was flowing backward. That made heat build up. I just changed the flow. Just changed the flow, Empress Hannah repeated. My best engineers couldn't see that. A tall Neri stepped forward. He wore a gold uniform with many symbols. Your Majesty, he said, this slave got lucky. We can't trust a human with our technology. Is that true, human? Were you lucky? The Empress asked. June shook his head. No, Your Majesty. I fixed many engines. I understand how energy moves. The Empress walked to a table and touched it. A 3D image of the warp core appeared in the air. Show me what you did, she said. Jun hesitated. Would they kill him if he touched their control panel? You have permission, Empress Hannah said, as if reading his thoughts. Jun stepped forward. His hands moved over the controls, showing how he had changed the energy flow. See, he said, forgetting his fear. Your design is beautiful, but this connection here creates a loop. The energy gets trapped and builds up. The tall Nari in gold made an angry noise. Ridiculous. Our designs are perfect. Empress Hannah held up her hand for silence. And how would you fix it permanently, human? June thought for a moment. I would add a second path here. He pointed to the image, like a release valve. When pressure builds up, the extra energy can flow out safely. The room was quiet. The Empress stared at June, her black eyes unreadable. Chief Engineer Quan, she finally said, test his idea. The tall Neri looked unhappy but bowed. Yes, Your Majesty. Empress Hannah turned back to June. If your idea works, what should we do with you? June swallowed hard. This was his chance. Let me help you, he said. I'm an engineer. I can see your technology with fresh eyes. A slave advising the Nari. Chief Engineer Quan laughed. Impossible. The Empress ignored him. And what do you want in return, human? Better treatment, Jun said quickly. For all workers, no more shock collars. Proper food and rest. Empress Hannah raised one eyebrow. You ask for others, not yourself. June nodded. A good engineer cares for all parts of the system. Your workers are part of your ship's system. For the first time, the Empress's face showed a new expression. It looked almost like a smile. Interesting, she said. Very well. You will join my engineering team for 1 week. If your ideas work, we will discuss these improvements. Chief Engineer Quan stepped forward. Your Majesty, the Council will not approve of this. I don't need their approval, she said coldly. This is my ship. The next day, guards took June to a new area. It was clean and bright. Nari engineers stared at him with disgust. June still wore his collar, but he had new clothes and a small room to himself. It wasn't freedom, but it was better. For days, he worked with the Nari team. They hated his ideas at first, but when his changes made the core run stronger and cooler, some began to listen. Each evening, Empress Hannah came to check their progress. She asked June questions, not just about engineering, but about humans and Earth. No one had ever heard the Empress speak so much. One night, as they studied the improved warp core, she asked, "Why do humans explore space, June?" He answered honestly, "To learn, to grow, to find new friends." Friends, she said, as if the word was new to her. The Nari do not have friends. We have servants or enemies. That sounds lonely, Jun said, then worried he had gone too far. The Empress was quiet for a long time. Yes, she finally said. I suppose it is. 2 months passed. Jun's ideas had fixed the warp core completely. The ship now moved faster and used less energy. The Empress had kept her word. All workers got better food and more rest. The shock collars remained, but were used less often. June sat in a new room near the engineering section. It had a desk, a soft bed, and a window that showed the stars. It wasn't freedom, but it was far better than the slave quarters. He was reading a Nari technical manual when his door opened. Empress Hannah entered, without guards for the first time. "Your Majesty," Jun said, standing quickly. "Sit," she said. "I have questions." The Empress sat across from him. In the past weeks, they had talked often about engineering. But today she seemed different. "Tell me about Earth art," she said. Jun blinked in surprise. "Art? Well, we have many kinds. Paintings, music, dance, stories." "Stories," she repeated. "What kind of stories do humans tell?" June thought for a moment. "All kinds. Adventures, love stories, tales about the future or the past. Stories that make us laugh or cry." "Cry? You make stories to feel sad." The Empress looked confused. "Sometimes sadness helps us understand others better," Jun explained. "It connects us." Empress Hannah was quiet for a moment. "The Nari do not cry. We do not tell stories. We record facts and history." "That sounds incomplete," Jun said carefully. To his surprise, she nodded. "Yes, I have wondered if that is why we stopped growing as a people. We perfect what exists but create little that is new." They talked for hours. June told her about human music, movies, and books. He described Earth's oceans and mountains. He told funny stories from his childhood. And for the first time, he saw the Empress laugh, a small, careful laugh, as if she was testing how it felt. The next day, Chief Engineer Quan called an emergency meeting. When June arrived, many high-ranking Nari were there. They looked angry. "This human has too much influence," Quan said. "He spends hours alone with the Empress. He changes our technology. This is dangerous." An older Nari with silver markings nodded. "The council agrees. The human must return to the worker level." June's heart sank. Back to being a slave after all this progress. The door opened. Empress Hannah entered. Everyone bowed. "You discussed the human without inviting me?" she asked coldly. Chief Quan bowed lower. "Your Majesty, we worry for your safety and the purity of Nari ways. This human," the Empress interrupted, "has improved our warp core beyond all expectations. His name is Jun." "But Your Majesty," Quan started. "I have made my decision," she said. "From today, Jun will be my official technical advisor. He will have rank above all engineers except Chief Quan." The room erupted in shocked voices. No non-Nari had ever held such a position. "Silence," the Empress commanded. "You may question my decisions in private council, but not here. Jun has earned this position." After the others left, Empress Hannah looked at Jun. "You seem surprised," she said. "I am," Jun admitted. "Why did you do this?" She touched the wall, and it turned transparent, showing the stars outside. "The Nari were like these stars once, bright, different, full of energy," she said quietly. "Now we are all the same. We follow the same paths. We think the same thoughts." She turned to face him. "You think differently. You see things we miss. The Nari need that if we are to grow." That evening, Jun moved to new quarters near the royal section. His shock collar was removed. He was given proper clothes and access to many parts of the ship. Some Nari treated him with respect. Others glared with hatred. As he stood at the window of his new room, looking at the endless stars, Jun thought about the Empress's words. She had called him valuable, important, different. But he was still a captive, just in a larger, nicer cage. And yet, something was changing between them, something neither of them had expected. Chief Engineer Quan sat with 5 other high-ranking Nari in a small dark room. They spoke in hushed voices. The Empress listens to the human too much, said Quan. She changes our ways because of his ideas. An older Nari named Fleet Commander Day nodded. She removed his collar. She gives him authority over true Nari. This cannot continue. What can we do? Asked another. She is the Empress. Day leaned forward. We must show her that humans cannot be trusted, that this June is a danger to us all. How? Quan asked. Day smiled coldly. The diplomatic mission to the outer worlds begins tomorrow. The Empress must use the warp core to travel there quickly. What if something goes wrong with the core? Sabotage, Quan whispered. That's dangerous. Not if we plan it carefully, said Da. The core will fail in a remote region. The human will try to fix it and fail. The Empress will see his limits. We will save the ship, and order will return. Meanwhile, June sat with Empress Hana in the ship's garden. It was filled with strange plants from many worlds. They had been meeting like this for weeks, talking about their different cultures. Your people vote for leaders? Hana asked, sounding shocked. Any person can lead. Not any person, June explained. But yes, we choose our leaders. They answer to the people. Strange, said the Empress. Nari leaders are born to rule. It is in our blood. And is that working well? June asked carefully. The Empress was quiet for a moment. It worked for thousands of years, but now, I'm not sure. The Council resists new ideas. They fear change. Change can be good, said June. It brings growth. Hana looked at him with her dark eyes. You have changed things here, June. Some Nari see it as good. Others, she paused. Be careful. Not everyone wants you here. The next day, the great ship prepared for its diplomatic mission. June checked the warp core one last time. It looked perfect. As the ship entered warp speed, June stood on the bridge for the first time. The Empress had invited him to watch. The stars stretched into lines of light as they traveled faster than thought. Then everything went wrong. Red lights flashed. Alarms screamed. The ship shuddered and dropped out of warp space. What happened? Demanded the Empress. Warp core failure, Your Majesty. A Nari officer reported. We are stranded in the empty region. June looked at the readings. That's impossible. The core was perfect. Chief Quan rushed to the control panel. Systems are failing. We have lost power to weapons and shields. Commander Dai stepped forward. Your Majesty, this region is dangerous. The Quan Collective patrols here. If they find us without power. The Empress turned to June. Can you fix it? I need to see the core, he said. Together, they hurried to engineering. When they arrived, June saw right away that something was wrong. The core patterns didn't match any natural failure he had ever seen. This was done on purpose, he whispered to the Empress. Her eyes widened. Sabotage. Who would dare? Before June could answer, more alarms sounded. Enemy ships detected, came a voice over the speakers. 3 Quan vessels approaching. The Empress looked at June. How long to fix the core? Hours if I can do it at all, he said honestly. For the first time, he saw fear in her eyes. We have minutes, not hours. June thought quickly. The backup systems. We can reroute power there. Those systems are too weak, said Chief Quan, who had followed them. Not if we connect them differently, June insisted. I need your help, he said to the Empress. I can't do this alone. Without hesitation, she removed her royal cloak. Tell me what to do. As they worked side by side, covered in sweat and engine oil, June saw a new side of the Empress. She was smart, quick, and didn't fear getting her hands dirty. Why are you helping me? June asked as they connected heavy cables. Because you help me, she said simply. Because the Nari way is not working. And because I trust you, June. Those words meant more to him than she could know. As the enemy ships closed in, June and Hana raced against time. The human who had once been a slave and the Empress who had never worked with her hands, now partners in a desperate fight for survival. Sweat dripped from Jun's forehead as he connected the last power cable. Empress Hana worked beside him, her royal clothes dirty with oil and dust. 5 minutes until Quan ships are in firing range, a voice announced over the speakers. Almost there, Jun said. He looked at the makeshift control panel they had built. It wasn't pretty, but it might work. What now? Asked Hana. We need to start all systems at once, Jun explained. The power surge will be huge. It could burn out the circuits. Or it could save us, she said. They pressed the activation buttons together. The lights flickered. For 3 long seconds, nothing happened. Then power flooded back into the ship. The engines hummed to life. It worked, Jun shouted. On the bridge, officers cheered as shields and weapons came back online. The enemy ships slowed their approach. Get us out of here, ordered the Empress through her communicator. The ship turned and sped away from danger. Once they were safe, Empress Hana called all senior officers to the main hall. Her face was stern as she stood before them. Our ship was sabotage, she said. Someone tried to kill us all. Whispers filled the room. Commander Dai stepped forward. Your Majesty, perhaps it was the human. He had access to the core. It wasn't Jun, Hana said firmly. He saved us. Again. Jun looked around the room. Many Nari nodded in agreement. They had seen him work to save the ship. But others, like Quan and Dai, glared with hatred. I want the traitor found, the Empress continued. Until then, we will make changes. She outlined her plan. The ship would be run differently. Decisions would be made by groups, not just leaders. Workers from all species would have a voice. This is not the Nari way. Commander Dai protested. The Nari way nearly got us killed today. Hana replied coldly. We need new ideas. Later, Jun sat with the Empress in her private study. Star maps glowed on the walls. Your changes today, Jun said. They're like democracy. Hana smiled slightly. Yes, your human ideas have made me think. One person cannot know everything. Many minds are stronger than one. Some of your people are very angry, Jun warned. They don't want change. Change is already happening, she said. Look at how the crew worked together today. Nari engineers asking non-Nari workers for ideas. It's never happened before. Jun nodded. He had seen it too. When the crisis came, old barriers had started to fall. There's a human saying, he told her. Crisis reveals character. Wise words, said the Empress. Today showed me who I can trust. Over the next few days, repairs continued. The Empress's new system was working. Teams of mixed species solved problems together. Even some doubtful Nari began to see the benefits. Jun taught human concepts like voting, fair treatment, and equal rights. The Empress turned these ideas into new rules for the ship. But Commander Dai and his followers grew more angry. They met in secret places and made plans. One evening, as Jun walked to his quarters, he heard shouting. He ran toward the sound and found a shocking sight. Commander Dai stood with 20 armed Nari outside the Empress's chambers. The Empress has lost her way, Dai was saying. She listens to slaves instead of her own people. We must remove her and save the Nari Empire. Before Jun could react, a hand pulled him into a side corridor. It was Chief Engineer Quan. They will kill you if they see you, Quan whispered. You're part of this, Jun accused. Quan looked down. I was, but this has gone too far. Dai plans to kill the Empress and blame you. We have to stop him, Jun said. Many Nari will not follow Dai, Quan said. But we need a plan. As they spoke, more Nari gathered in the hallway. But something unexpected happened. Many crew members, both Nari and non-Nari, arrived and stood against Dai's forces. We support the Empress and her changes, they shouted. For the first time in Nari history, their people were divided. Inside her chambers, Empress Hana heard the commotion. She straightened her crown and prepared to face the challenge that could change her empire forever. The doors to the Empress's chambers opened. Hana stepped out, her face calm. She wore her full royal armor, shining silver with blue lights that matched her skin. Commander Dai and his followers raised their weapons. The loyal Neri and non-Neri workers stood firm on the other side of the hall. "What is the meaning of this?" Empress Hana asked, her voice strong. "Your rule has failed." Commander Dai said, "You listen to slaves. You change our sacred ways. The true Nari reject you." The Empress looked around at the divided crowd. "Is that what all of you believe?" Many Nari looked down, unsure. Some looked at Dai, afraid of his power. "The Empress saved us when we were stranded," a young Nari engineer said suddenly. "She worked with her own hands beside the human." "Weakness," shouted Dai. "A true Empress commands, she does not work." "Is it weak to save your people?" Another voice called. It was Chief Engineer Quan, stepping forward with June beside him. "Is it weak to find new and better ways?" Dad pointed at June. "This human has poisoned your minds. The Nari rule. We do not share power." Before anyone could respond, alarms blared through the ship. A voice came over the speakers. "Quan collective ships approaching. They have followed our ion trail." Everything changed in that moment. The ship shook as the first enemy shots hit the shields. "To your stations," ordered the Empress. "We will settle our differences after we survive." Most Neri hurried to their posts, but Commander Dai and his closest followers raised their weapons higher. "No," said Dai. "The empire ends here, Hana. You are no longer fit to rule." He fired at the Empress. In that split second, June dove forward, pushing Hana aside. The shot hit his shoulder instead of her heart. He fell to the floor, pain burning through him. Loyal guards tackled Dai and his followers. The fight was quick and one-sided. The rebels were outnumbered. Through a haze of pain, Jun heard the Empress giving orders. "Take them to the holding cells, then get to battle stations. We need new tactics against the Quan ships." Jun tried to stand. "I have an idea," he gasped. The Empress knelt beside him. "You're hurt. Their ships are fast, but their shields are weak on the bottom," Jun said through clenched teeth. "On Earth, we would dive below them and fire upward." "That's not in any Nari battle plan," said a bridge officer. "Exactly why it might work," the Empress said. "Do it." As medical staff carried Jun away, he heard the Empress giving new orders based on his suggestion. The ship turned sharply and dove beneath the Quan ships. Jun woke hours later in a strange room. It was beautiful, with soft lights and living plants. He lay on a comfortable bed, his shoulder wrapped in healing bandages. "Where am I?" he asked a medical worker. "The Royal Medical Chamber," the worker said with awe in her voice. "No non-Neri has ever been here before." The door opened and Empress Hana entered. She looked tired but unharmed. "Your tactic worked," she said, sitting beside his bed. "The Quan ships were not prepared for an attack from below. We destroyed two, and the third retreated." "Good," Jun said weakly. "You saved my life," the Empress said quietly. "Why?" Jun tried to find the right words. "Because you're changing. Your people are changing. It matters." She touched his hand gently. "Rest now. When you wake, things will be different." Jun slept deeply. When he woke again, the Empress was addressing the entire ship through the communication system. Her voice played in his room. "The attack by Commander Dai has shown us the danger of the old ways," she was saying. "A new era begins today. The Nari Empire will become the Nari Alliance. All species will have rights and representation. Slavery is abolished." Jun couldn't believe what he was hearing. It was more than he had ever hoped for. "These changes come from wisdom I learned from many sources," the Empress continued, "including the human who showed me that true strength lies not in control but in cooperation." As he listened, Jun felt tears on his face. Tears of hope, of pain, of something else he wasn't ready to name. Outside his window, stars shone in the darkness. Somewhere out there was Earth. It felt both closer and farther away than ever before. 1 year had passed since the battle and the failed coup. The Nari flagship floated above a beautiful blue-green planet. It was the first meeting place of the new Nari alliance. June stood on the observation deck, watching ships arrive from 20 different worlds. Each carried leaders who would help shape the new government. It was hard to believe how much had changed. The shock collars were gone. Former slaves now worked as paid crew members with rights and dignity. Many had chosen to stay on the Empress's ship even after being offered freedom to leave. Thinking deep thoughts, a voice asked. June turned to see Empress Hana. She wore simpler clothes these days, still royal, but less distant and cold. Just amazed, he said. 1 year ago, I was fixing pipes in the engine room. Now I'm watching history happen. You helped make this history, she reminded him. Many still oppose these changes, but more support them. The alliance grows stronger each day. They stood in comfortable silence, watching the ships dock. Their relationship had deepened over the past year. June served as her chief advisor, helping build bridges between the Nari and other species. The Earth delegation arrives tomorrow, Hana said. June's heart beat faster. I know. I never thought I'd see humans again. Are you excited to return home? She asked, her voice carefully neutral. June looked at her. Is that why you invited Earth to join the alliance? So I could go home. Partly, she admitted. You deserve that choice. Before he could respond, Chief Quan entered the observation deck. Your Majesty, he said with a bow. The council is ready for your announcement. June looked confused. Announcement? What announcement? You'll see, said Hana with a small smile. In the Grand Hall, representatives from all Alliance worlds gathered. The room buzzed with excited talk. June stood to the side, unsure why he was there. The Empress walked to the center of the hall. The room fell silent. Friends and allies, she began. Today we celebrate the first year of our new way. The old empire is gone. In its place, we build something stronger, fairer, and wiser. The crowd applauded. Many non-Nari cheered loudly. As we grow, Hana continued, we must show our commitment to unity. Since the beginning of Nari history, the Empress or Emperor has always taken a mate from the highest Nari families. Whispers spread through the crowd. This was big news. The Empress had ruled alone for many years. Today I break with that tradition, she said. My chosen consort comes not from the Nari, but from Earth. June's mouth fell open. She couldn't mean. I choose June, whose wisdom and courage have transformed our world, Hana said, looking directly at him. If he accepts. The hall erupted in noise. Some cheered. Others shouted in anger. Traditionalist Neri walked out in protest. June stood frozen in shock. The Empress walked to him and spoke quietly. I know this is sudden, she said. You don't need to answer now. Why me? He managed to ask. Her black eyes softened. Once I ruled worlds. I had power over millions, but I was alone, separate from everyone. She took his hand. You showed me a different way to live. You became my world, June. Not because I owned you, but because you changed how I see everything. June thought of Earth, his home planet that he had missed for so long. The ships arriving tomorrow could take him back there. But he also thought of all they had built here, the changes that were still happening, the good they could do together. Yes, he said simply, I accept. The next day, the Earth ships arrived. Ambassadors stepped onto the Nari flagship, the first official contact between the two worlds. They were surprised to be greeted by both Empress Hana and her human consort. As the human ambassador shook his hand, June smiled. Welcome to the alliance, he said. How did this happen? The amazed ambassador asked quietly. How did a human end up here like this? June looked at Hana, who stood proud beside him. He thought of his journey, from prisoner to engineer to advisor to consort, from chains to crown. "It's a long story," he said, "but it's worth telling." Above them, the stars shone bright, full of new worlds and possibilities. And for the first time, humans would explore them not alone, but with allies who had learned the value of connection.